This holiday weekend, my family and I were reminiscing about being in St. Louis Airport to catch an early morning flight. We started to walk in one of the shops off the main concourse, and something caught my attention. I stepped out to see why one couple had stood up, and then another couple stood up, and suddenly someone began to clap. Another person was clapping, and then I and others added our applause. The reason was a small parade was going past, led by a bagpiper in full regalia. It was World War II veterans participating in an honor flight, flying to Washington, D.C. to see their memorial. I get goosebumps just saying that. They proudly accepted our acknowledgement and thanks. Some were walking with guardians, some were in wheelchairs, others were using walkers and canes, and some saluted, and many of them and us wiped away tears. It was a moving tribute to witness their departure and to pay a tribute to them, even in that small way. I marveled that day and continue to do so today, thinking what it took for them as individuals to perform their duty back then and to continue to live lives of meaning and service. They gave a full measure of devotion to family and friends and community. I bring this up today not only because of the holiday, but because I think it's something that we all do to the best of our ability. Whether we've served in the military, whether reserves or alternate service, we all want to give. We all want to lead thoughtful and meaningful lives. And such lives as these are not based on one-time happenings that are over quickly, rather something that extends the full length and breadth of our living. And we measure this by our day-to-day efforts, by our intentions over time. Simply put, we persevere. Webster tells us that to persevere is to continue in some effort or course of action in spite of difficulty or opposition, to be steadfast in purpose or to persist. We persevere in life. I remember as a little girl watching snails in our backyard flower and vegetable garden. I was fascinated by that little creature. You know, the shell on its back and the slimy tummy, and then those eyes that look like periscopes. But what was truly fascinating was how slow they moved. How slow did they move, you ask me? Of course. They move at about 0.029 miles an hour. No wonder we use the phrase moving at a snail's pace to mean slow. Now, although a snail moves at its own pace, one virtue it has is persistence. Minister Charles Spurgeon wryly observed, "By perseverance, the snail reached the ark." There it is. Perseverance showing up again. According to the Apostle Paul, perseverance is a key component in character development. In Romans 3, he says, "Life produces perseverance, and perseverance, character, and character, hope. Now this does not disappoint." Perseverance, character, hope. If we ever want to question the human ability to persevere, all we have to do is put just a little toddler in front of us in a group setting. And we see this little one struggling to stand, trying to gain balance, to take that first step. standing and falling, again and again, until finally this little one wins the battle with balance and has it. But then she has a different focus because she's going to put out that foot to take a step and another step and another step. This little one perseveres. And caregivers are so proud of this little one when that first step is taken, to the point that there is real disappointment if the chief caregiver isn't there for the first step. If we as adults are so proud of these little people, think how proud that toddler is of him or herself. If we ever feel like we're lacking when it comes to this quality of perseverance, if we feel like, oh man, I'm just going to give up, we want to remember how many things we faced in life that were difficult at the beginning, or maybe impossible it seemed, just like those baby steps. Confucius said, "It does not matter how slow you go as long as you do not stop." We can take this line of thinking a step further. Remember the story of Jacob in Genesis chapter 32. At one point in his life, he decides to make amends with his brother who he tricked out of his birthright. And so he makes his way back, his family and all his possessions, to meet the brother. And what does he do but wrestle with an angel all night? Peggy, you referred to this last week. What does the angel say to him before dawn? He says, "Let me go, for the dawn is breaking." But what does Jacob reply? "I won't let you go until you bless me." Most of us, when we're wrestling with a problem, only think of winning out over it. We don't go a step further, as Jacob did, and claim a blessing from the situation with which we're struggling. Unity minister Martha Smock, who was for many, many years the editor of our daily prayer guide, Daily Word, teaches that struggling for the sake of winning is an empty victory. Sure, the problem's solved, maybe the needs are met, but we're left exhausted and empty at the same time. She suggests that we consider a baby doesn't only stand just to move her feet, just to walk that step or two, because she wants to move, she wants to run, she wants to jump and to play and to swim and to dance her way through life. This is her blessing, not just to achieve that balance, not just to take the first step, but to live and move and have her being expressed in a spiritual journey. We don't stop when we solve the problem or we meet the goal. We continue on, and we claim the blessing in the experience. Think for a moment of a runner training for a race. This individual is taught to visualize the finish line 6 feet beyond the actual finish line, so that they don't subconsciously start letting go as they approach the finish line. A little leaguer? Well, that child practices running through first base so that they don't slow up, and that way they can beat any throw to first base. A first grade reading recovery student. These beginning readers don't stop their course of lesson when they reach the lowest expectation of grade level. Rather, they continue on until they're at least reading as well as the bulk of the class, if not the best in the class. So, we push through expectations, but we claim the blessing too. Back when daughter Zemi was in middle school, she had an unexpected demonstration of this. Now, at that time, she was still studying karate. And her goal was to progress to the point and meet the goal of what her oldest twin brothers did. And they had made third-degree brown belt before they left for college. Well, in order to do this, Zemi had to learn her katas, those connected, flowing movements, almost like a dance. She had to learn her blocks and her grabs. But there was another component. She had to teach. So any night, she might find herself with a 40-year-old white belt who's just walked in the door and teaching that person blocks and grabs. The next class might be a small group of 5-year-olds who had to simply learn how to take a breath, calm down, and bow to get onto the mat. Each class she taught would be under the ever-watchful eye of her sensei and parents who ringed the entire mat. Unexpectedly, the good news was there was a blessing in all this. Zemi realized one day, after an oral presentation in English class, that she'd begun offering to go first. She no longer was filled with dread. She no longer had the sleepless night before an oral presentation. Something had happened. And when she came to me, she demonstrated how she walked up to the front of her class with her shoulders down and her chin up. Now, this was her middle school years. Think of how many more years of formal education she had. So talk about a blessing in all this. And her being the one, she was the one that recognized it. Unbeknownst to us at this point, this was year 7 of karate. She would fly that spring, remember that opening story? She would fly to Scottsdale, Arizona, where she'd take her black belt test, and she was awarded it. Goal and blessing. Wow. Lest you think we are far removed from this, we are not. We are living this as individuals and as a church family. How many stepping stone workshops did we go to? Holy smoke, as we made ourselves ready for our settled minister. And attendance at every workshop was 22, 25, or more. That stayed steady. And then we continued that when those stopped, and Reverend Eliza began offering the 90-minute after the church service workshops. Again, 22, 25, or more. Our search committee completed and submitted our search packets for a new minister. And after a certain length of time, they beefed it up by taping 3-minute YouTube presentations sharing what is so special to them as an individual about our church. Thank you to Chris Smith, to Chris Zelli, to Chris Farashon, and Reverend Eliza. Everyone here prayerfully joins in saying our mission and vision statements, and even our prayer for a settled minister, amended now as we can. In the very least, you offer a smile and a blessing to each other on a Sunday. And if it's not your Sunday to reach out, you willingly accept the smile, the greeting instead. The goal? Well, we said it was a settled minister, but the blessings have been so rich. Indeed, whether it's increased attendance, whether it is healings, whether it is a stronger church family, blessings, blessings. There are times in life that we have something to meet that do require a lot of effort from us. And it's almost like it won't let us go, and we can't let go of it. Maybe it's the job, and we find that the environment just is not healthy for us. It just isn't encouraging us and supporting us any longer. Maybe it's a relationship that is no longer healthy. It's turned toxic and it depletes our energy. Sometimes it's a state of mind that is negative, something that doesn't encourage us to act our best. All we want to do is get rid of the problem and let it go. But we want to think beyond the situation. We want to think that there is a blessing somehow inherent in this. So we tell ourselves, there is some blessing here for me. There's something for me to learn. There's some way in which I can grow through this experience. And like Jacob say, I won't let you go until you bless me. We claim the blessing from the inharmony, from the negativity, from the disease, and we find release and freedom. Now, we may not recognize that gift consciously, but we have the intention of being open to receive it. We persevere. There's a part of each of us that says, don't give up. Even if another part of us says, oh boy, I'm not up to the task. This just isn't worth it. I think I'm going to accept defeat in this area. But there's that small voice that keeps urging us on, just as there's that small voice in the toddler learning to walk. She responds because of the persistent voice. We respond because of the persistent voice that calls us forward. Our good friend and licensed teacher emeritus, Pat Meter, was one of 12 in her high school graduating class in Beecher, Illinois, many years ago. Now, they may have been small in number, but they must have been a pretty powerful bunch. Their high school class motto, the secret of success is constancy to purpose. Holy smoke. The secret to success is constancy to purpose. When I saw Pat this week, I said hello, gave her a kiss, and said, what's your class motto? And she said, the secret to success is constancy to purpose. Even at 93, she still got it. What is that? But persistence, perseverance. Author Robert Collier suggests that success is the small efforts put together, repeated day in and day out. Now, maybe some things do seem beyond us, but it is those day-to-day efforts that are not beyond us or beyond our imagination. Step by step, day by day, we keep on keeping on, and we do more than what is merely required of us. We look for the truth in everyday experiences, and we claim the blessings in all experiences that we have. We meet our problems and difficulties with that can-do attitude, and we open up to these unknown gifts. And then we can say metaphorically, in delight, just like Jacob did, I have seen the face of God, and my life is preserved. Then we are going to be convinced that God is in all, that good is in all, and that there truly is a blessing for us in every aspect of life as we take a step in persistence and perseverance. Amen. I'm going to ask you now to take these thoughts into our time of meditation. And just breathe with me for a moment. Just be here now, in this quiet place, in this peace. In the quiet, in peace. Mind and body and nerves relax. And we breathe deeply. A time of rest and renewal. A time of union and oneness. And so for a moment, we listen. Listen. In the silence, we listen. In this quiet sanctuary, we listen. There is renewal, restoration, and we are refreshed. We regain our balance, and we are ready to take the next step, walking, running, and dancing through life, becoming aware of the individuals on our right and our left. We come back to this time and this place full of gratitude. Amen, amen, and amen.